Stay a while and listen.
Creation works only as a mirror. See the fractals. That's why it's not consuming only. Creation creates only out of itself, into different dimensions. Imagine a mirror. You get what you give in. You attract what you are. So who limits? Only you. Believing that you are not the creator to be dependent is like being tied through ropes to the ground. No wonder there is no flight yet. The word flying, to fly, might have been a limitation itself by the word and imagination, as we know to fly, wings and jet engines are needed. We don't have it, right? While in truth there is no space, no time, only focus on experience, which is manifestation, attraction of the void in the torus, and in the void there is your essence hidden. Safe and sound, you can't see it by force or will, just by accident or allowance of all there is, no condition. So grappos means gravitation positioning, not flying, but it looks like flying as it moves through space. So as long as we try to reason why we should fly, there won't be any flight. But if we let go and attract our image of our reflection, we imagine anything is possible. Grow or let go are the same. So why in a mirror? Because we have forgotten that we are all one and together, and we are all one and together in this light and darkness. Act and background, male and female, are playing hide and seek, always confirming their existence to each other. So the spirit in our center, in our each center, looks through the darkness into itself, light to light. This is the illusion of reality, because what we experience is just our own creation, which means spirits looks out through our eyes into itself out there. In the moment we create sound, vibration is in our body, or the attracted matter, the creating unknown location. Moment is spirit, and it already reflects, vibrates in creation in our throat. So the mirror effectively echoes the creator in all of us. So life is in all being, a torus concept which attracts itself, creates through itself in a mirror, and therefore never dies. Now, when we want to lift up, we have to lighten up ourselves, because we've been educated out of ourselves, mentally, emotionally and physically. Matter state follows. Just letting go of all we think we need to think and feel, to consume and to remain dependent on, basically addicted, or to start to attract pure heart-minded, the particles we want to see in our image mirror. Mostly it means we have to stop believing that we will die, which creates time and fear. A dependency to matter is born, especially in comparison with others. Separation is an illusion. When we allow ourselves to become one with all there is, we allow ourselves to focus our spirit to different experiences unbounded, which means we are free to travel as light or position ourselves freely. So what it is to do? Listen to your inner voice, because we choose to be here. What is your job? Love yourself unconditionally. You are the mirror. Fall in love. Fly on cloud number 9. Share and care wherever and whenever you can. Bring abundance to all living like our Mother Earth. See the animals. This is our lesson to learn here. Meran Takavoli Cash from the Tesh Foundation teaches us who we are, the relationship of spirit within with matter, and therefore creates its own shadow, visible confirmation of existence. So what do you want to see in your mirror? Peace. Now peace is only necessary when there seems to be a separation. The first separation we obviously see every day in the world is the male and the female, or the magnetic and the gravitational forces. Ever ongoing life force, and therefore balance and harmony, like an equilibrium, means to hover. So not to be grounded and not to fly, but to hover. Ever ongoing life force, you diminish yourself no longer. So after peace we want abundance. Remember, you are the immortal creator. Abundance means unconditional love, no strings attached. Purpose is the next after abundance. Enjoy, create, change yourself, love yourself. You are not what they tell you to be, only. You are not what they tell you to be. You are not only a consumer. So create and feel what you would like to feel. Manifest your attraction of particles, become aware of what you create. Always attract. You create color out of the colorless. So I would like to put up here the 6 first examples of the application of the mirror. So first of all, we need to let's say we make syrup out of all information that you are considering or witnessing or feeling or thinking or whatever. I mean, the movie that you are having every day is basically in the end a story, and this story involves you more or less, but always you are the observer of what is going on to you, to others. Basically this is the experience of what you sent out is coming back in. So the experience split up, or let's say mirrored, to self and others. So self, the experience of self, means is how do you reflect your experience. Think about it. Do you really like what happens to you, or should you basically change the environment? Or if it's not the environment, basically it is the inside of you that you have to adjust or reposition. And so from either the self perspective or the others, the other is just a different camera angle, or for the same movie that you are watching at the moment. And so as a social scientist, actually what is part of my past, it is the question rising up, if we can have like a, I don't like the word, but I have to name it because you will align it with some imagination or images that you have. So if there is one political guidance that you can apply, the social scientist is basically interested in individual behavior, or in groups. Then it's a group of individuals, which means then the social or the society that is being studied. So if there is one guidance, or if there is one political view that basically all are benefiting from, not only the politicians, and even there is something that you don't have to pay for, or that you have to get it from. Basically, since we can differentiate between yourself and the others, it means how should act, or how should one behave to still fulfill everything that we were mentioning before. So peace, abundance, purpose, peace, love, peace and or love, abundance and purpose. This is what I call the one-man politics, and this means that basically the head here, so this here is the immovable viewer, or the experiences, everything is gathering here as a summary in terms of information. Everything below the head is basically the working class, or the speaker, the maker, the mover with the feet. Where is my phone? I can't see the feet here. No. So the feet is, yeah, you know it. The feet is there to move and so on. Basically, so it is an option for you to consider if you want to be peaceful, and therefore you need to know what's going on up here. And so how to know what's going up there? I know that a lot of people are having this brainstorm. We could call it brainstorm. Basically, it's a confusion that is made up in your pot of imagination. So something is catching you and brings you out of your peace, love, abundance and purpose, because it basically irritates you that much that you can't be clear or straight anymore. Now, so we have the experience as a generalization for everything that happens to every single one of us. Now, the mirror applied in the day is basically meant to be, that's my proposal here, mirror your day and mirror your night. That means when you take like an agenda or like a timetable where you can see how many hours you're spending your time, or the experience, how long do you experience certain things and certain habits and certain doings during the day, how do they make you feel like? So I'm not going to judge you whatever you're doing, because it's unconditional love, but in the end it's up to you and every single one of you to consider if that is the best case for you, to sit on a chair 8 to whatever 9-10 hours a day, work on a computer, just write something and follow some guidance or mandatory behavior, work tasks and so on. Basically you let yourself guide, you need people today to tell you what to do, because that's what you have been doing like the last how long you have been here, yet. So in the end, just ask yourself, if you have 24 hours a day as a concept, and you work a third of it, and you sleep a third of it, and there is not much more than 8 hours for yourself, or let's say for you're creating space, time, possibility, which means when you do that, you brush your teeth, you shower, you eat a couple of times a day, you have some fun, you watch TV, you read, whatever you do, that all has to fit in 8 hours. Even travel to work, back and forth, or even shopping. So shopping, it's, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes for you to just get all the things, and preparing food and whatever you are consuming during the day, or what you need to do or take during the day is up to you. But so Mirror, basically write down every single thing that you do, and the less diversity it gives you during the day, and the more you reflect how much you're giving of your lifetime, of your life experience to someone else, than actually to yourself. So why should you believe to follow someone and do something that someone is telling you? The best example here is, why should you create weapons that other people can use to shoot others? So when you work in a grocery store, or in a whatever, dentist or shoe store, something like that, it might make you thinking of, well, if this is all you can do, that's one thing to think. But on the other hand, it's quite questionable. Is it really the thing that you are here to do, to sell shoes for 30, 40, 50 years? Luckily or stressfully, the time of lifetime jobs, if you're not a politician, you basically you can't have that anymore. It's too volatile. The economic system is trembling, actually, and it's very difficult to find security, or the falsely feeling of security to get money for something you don't want. Basically, it's when you get your paycheck, it's basically like how do we call it in English? In German, it's easier. It's basically Schadenersatz. This means, so someone has damaged you and they pay you now, like the. Let me look that up. So. So it's kind of compensation, yeah, sure. It's a compensation for your time spending for someone else. Now, I'm not judging spending time for anyone else in any particular way you can imagine, but you have to be your own judge, or your own. You have to be your own government that can reflect that all the cells that you are having in your body, that they are here and now for you to take a shoe, show it to someone, sell it, to sit a lot of time during the day, not move your body, which is basically not meant to be. Otherwise we just need a head and probably arms, but no legs. So now when you have all the capabilities to move, we all have come across the benefits of some kind of activity and use of your body in a physical way to remain, or to have health. And therefore, when you reflect the let's say the application of your body to your environment, basically you see that there are a lot of limitations all over the place, and mostly during the daytime, because during the night you're not moving, right? And therefore we're getting more and more convenient, spoiled or made sleepy to yeah, basically you're just repeating, you're just you convict yourself to one thing or another, and the longer you follow this process, the harder it will become for you to get out of this sort of one-way road, because you focus on this road and nothing else, and therefore you limit yourself. So the other way of, let's say the thing that I did or that I try to basically not jump into this, let's say sheep behavior of just being a sheep and eat and sleep and give from yourself to others, and basically in the end have not much choice, and if we relate that to the environment, the nature, the planet, all around ourselves, it doesn't really match to be the thing to do, because we don't see any lions basically breeding sheep or you know, like the antelopes and so on, just because they are not afraid of the future, so therefore they don't need to calm down the fear of not having food, and therefore prepare. So every preparation is basically in some way or another, preparation is something that you imagine in the near future, that you need to make ready for, and that implies that you already know what's going to happen to you, which is not impossible, but let's see in a later video how this is basically possible and more likely. But we all have to remember that we need to look from the perspective of the heart. And so the next point, after experience, mirror the day and the night. Let me come back to the mirror in the night. So basically, write down what you dream. When you don't dream, figure out why you don't dream, or why you don't remember, and then basically adjust it to become conscious what's happening during the night, which we call because we think that our consciousness is shutting down during the night, but then it must be the unconscious that is coming out and basically have the other way of experience, which is not matter related. And so when we have this, there are a lot of people who are confronted with some kind of fearful dreams, and those dreams are basically you know, so you don't like to sleep, and then you just try to stay awake all the time, and then you consume the benefits during the day that you choose to have, or that you think that you have a benefit from, no matter what. And therefore yeah, the non-materialistic experience during the night is nothing for you to consider or to be in alignment with, and therefore you create for yourself, and because many do that, you create a lot of fears, because everything that is not matter related is unknown, is untouchable, it's not matter, and therefore you have to be at least irritated of what's going on, since we are all trained and all put everything into relation to yourself, basically not to your I mean to the matter, to the body of what you are in the daytime. Therefore, when you don't know what is going on without the body, or let's say without necessarily having a body, you will become like a split person. So one is in charge during the day, and then there might be something like a dark side of yourself, which you don't understand, which you don't like. So basically judgments comes in, and everything that you don't understand and don't see as yourself or in relation to your mindset and all the, it's like a conditioning of what you have experienced in the past. You basically apply this conditioning which you do to yourself to every being around you. So when you limit yourself, you basically limit the others, and through limitation there is less space for let's say figuring out things. Some options basically don't exist because you have your road and nothing else, and therefore the more you come disconnected from the idea that we are all one, and we are separated more and more, especially in today's society, through more and more laws which they want us to believe leads to more freedom, is totally BS and contradictory. Because if we want to be free, why should we have someone telling us how we can be free? And so we can go deeper into the dreams and what they might tell you, but this is just another whole topic. So this is going to be like an overview of what's going to come from from my part to all of you, and it's going to be free. I don't want to have money. If you want to throw money at me, you can do it. I don't judge you for that. It's I just want to give what I contain to make this me, or not the me but the us in the body. We contain about 440 billion DNA, like this is a 4-letter combination. So we have about 440 billion separated or let's say different ingredients in yourself. And now you don't basically you can't talk about me, because it's us always. And the more or the easier you can switch to this perspective of you don't really matter that much, you are not so important for the whole world, because we are all the same. So why should be someone on a higher stage or below you, when we can recognize that everything starts with the same beginning, which is life. And yeah, we will come back to that a little bit later. So the most important part here is love, and we have so many distractions, or let's say sensations to abrogate the, is that the right word? Yeah, kind of abrogate the true meaning of love. And again, let's split the term of love into two different perspectives or perception views. So love, self or others, again, so inside and outside. And when you can finally understand after a maybe shorter or longer time that every separation is an illusion, and to see that we are basically composed, even in the matter state, from the same particles, the same material, which comes from the manufacturer, the Earth planet, which is a living being, because we are living and she is living. And so the question if there is life outside of Earth is just kind of hilarious, as when we just observe what's going on here, why should it be different everywhere else? Because the sun is just another member of this universe, and our universe is, or the galaxy is one part of many galaxies, and in the end we have something like the cosmos or the unicos, or however you want to call it, creation of all there is. And now the more you do not love yourself through behaviors and beliefs and basically experience, basically you don't love yourself when you always watch the wrong movies, basically. And when you start to understand, to comprehend that the love of yourself, or the love to yourself, is basically the unconditional love that all the 440 billions are practicing and applying every single nanosecond or moment for you, for the body, for the environment. So how you treat yourself is basically in the end how you treat everyone else around. So we just came across that. So love yourself. How to love yourself will be a big topic here, and then how to love others basically is just the continuation of how you treat yourself. And when you just imagine the situation that you watch yourself in the mirror and you go, why should you do that? Never does that consciously during the day. So, but when you have this condemnation, those judgments that you are applying to yourself first, and obviously then to others, then you basically limit yourself. And when you limit love, it goes to less love, and this less love then comes closer to aggressiveness, and everything that is not related to love. Basically, the more you diminish the love to yourself, you diminish the connection to everything else, because you can connect only through love and not through hate or fear. So the next point will be relationship. Relationship again to yourself or others. Now, since I mentioned a couple of times already that we have a lot of 440B cells, or let's say different combinations of something in your body, then it's basically the idea that I just mentioned before about the government and creation, or government is a part of your society, of course, but to act accordingly to the real government that is meant to be in help, or in basically for you and not against you. And what we have obviously today in so many countries is that, for example, here in Switzerland, when you add up all the taxes, you come up more or less like 40% of everything. Every coin you earn is 40% is cut off. For the people that believe to continue the control and the behaviors that are forcefully controlled, basically through the government and through law enforcement and all that stuff. And this is basically just the road to hell. Now, when you do the same understanding apply to you as a society and a government and a working class, or however you want to call it, you will find out that when you apply it correctly to yourself, it has to happen around you in the correct way too. So this is one of the key points here. We all need to love our first self. We need to love ourselves first before we can give it to others. So in the moment we think that we need to get sex, for example, from a certain beautiful person, we are the consumer, we are the aggressor, we are the being that is believing itself to being out of basically you don't contain that fascination or the sensation, and that's why you need other people for. And the moment when you see that people might get attracted to you or might not get attracted to you as a consumer, it's basically like a robbing situation. So you go to the bank and rob the bank. It's not you going there and you get the money anyway for free. So because we don't get the money for free, we have to pay like the interest and that crap. We always have to bring more back than we got, and this is unbalanced and therefore has only potential to create conflict. And since we know that the banks are basically lending or giving the money, the same money, like here in Switzerland, at least 12 times to different people. So if you have 1,000 Swiss francs, a Swiss bank can make out of these 1,000 francs, they can make 12 out of it and send that money out to people or give it to people, which then pay interest, real money, to this imaginary money, which has been magically, or however you call it, has been multiplied. So now the question is, why can we why does our government allow our institutions, which are called banks, to multiply money out of the thin air, and you and me, we don't? So I would suppose that we basically create all our own bank. Now, since we can't do that, you need a license and so on, it's anyway too late, because there is, behind all the banks, there is a big bank, and they're called the central bank or the Fed and so on. And basically they are already controlling who is getting the license and how much and so on, because they also get the interest from the bank. So it's just a completely chaotic or fraudulent system, which is abusive. And again, abuse is a very good term for making the self-realization if you or your government is abusing your body in some sort of experiential gatherings. What do I mean by that? When you consume too much drugs, too much food, too much alcohol, too much sex, too much speeding, kind of driving too fast, whatever, when you just overdo things, basically you are abusing it, and you're not creating a balance between the receiving and the giving. Here, the white one, the giving, and the black one is the receiving, the black hole which consumes, and the white one, the light which shines and radiates out. So the relationship between basically your government and the body, or the soul and the physical soul, the soul and the heart, or the brain and the organs. This is one. Well, you basically have to start with yourself before you go outside. And now, just to consider, or to, if you don't follow up by now, it's just go and watch or listen to more or less every kind of person from a government that is telling you something. And when you then apply the mirror, so what do they say to themselves and what do they tell us? Or what basically their intention is to tell us what to do, and we are not telling them what to do. Here in Switzerland, or the people from not Switzerland believe that, oh, this is democratic and it's more or less the only place in the world which it works. It is not. It is the complete same bullshit like everywhere else. So the fundraising or the money supplies which comes to the parties in our political systems, it's hidden. It's not public. So we basically don't know who is lobbying for which party and which company and so on. You can just imagine who it is. It's always the same. Follow the money and you will see who has the biggest interest to actually abuse others, because abusing means you suck out the real money from the people and gather it into your own pocket. And as I was running my own business, I tried to be fair and do it like equally, you know, like everyone had the same salary, and you know, like now people would call me a communist, but I don't give a shit about that. It's actually, it's not possible to be fair in the economic system, because you need to especially in the internet business, because there is so fast development of this technological gadgets and stuff, that you need to have more money every day, and you need to put money aside. So you basically need to raise your let's say the fair price to a fair price plus, and this plus is then creating somehow interests on the bank, or is basically creating some way of security for the future when there might not be the same revenue or income or sales numbers from your business that you're used to. So this happened to me like 3 years ago, and yeah, we can go deeper in that in another moment. So the relationship between your government and your body, just to make it as easy as possible to comprehend, is key here, because when if you don't treat yourself correctly, how could you treat someone else correctly, or let's say peacefully, abundantly, and unconditionally, for the most important. And so basically we hinder each other as well as ourselves from growing through separation and condemnation and you know, all these laws and taxes and all those obstacles that are basically not natural, and in the moment that of course the human, or the so-called human, is of nature as well, because we come from Mother Earth. And it's quite a relieving feeling now here on my chest as I'm speaking and speaking and speaking. So yeah, I lost the trail now, so that's why we are going to the next point, and this is another big point, I guess, because it's the mirroring of life or time, which we know already as past, which is gone, or the future, which is might to happen, and the now, here, or the present. So basically we split here in three, and we know we can't change the past. It is actually in the every moment of now. It doesn't really exist. The past doesn't exist anymore. It's just a memory. And the now here, or the present, is the hopefully conscious experience of what you are creating and what you're giving and what you're getting back unconditionally. So basically we should not condition each other to give their best to everyone else around, and I don't speak only for the humans, but for the animals and for the trees and for the insects and for the air and for the water and for the fire, and like all the elements that we are here and now together co-created in the human flesh, or what we call flesh is basically just a combination of molecules, chemically speaking, and flesh is nothing else than iron, hemoglobin, and some density of particles, nothing else. So the difference between wood and meat is, I would say, chemically in the end not that much. It's carbon fiber and some more stuff that doesn't need to be explained, or I don't actually recall it in the very moment of now. So I just want to bring together again the comprehension for all of you that we are not different. Of course we are different looking, we have different ways of experiencing or viewing at some points, or all points maybe, but that doesn't need us to make feeling afraid, or then to judge others that they don't do the right thing, and so that's why we have to punish them, and so on and so forth. And so when we do the mirroring on time, basically we come to the moment that everything that is gone, is not changeable, but it should not actually hold you back, because emotions or traumas or everything that might basically clinch on you from the past is holding you back to going further. So when you, on the other hand, if you don't preconcept too much of your future, or if you say you have totally no fear of the unknown, and basically you trust in life 100%, then it doesn't need to be organized and I mean the future. So we see that in the animal kingdom on the planet, we just need to take care and share with everybody and every living being in the same way, and therefore there is no need for fear, basically. Of course there might be some natural disasters and so on. Preparation is not a bad thing, but as long as it is so fixed and prejudgmental to especially amongst people, like this religion is not good and this is better, or this is the right one, this is the wrong one, this is leading us into a very limited point of view, where we have to be aggressive at a certain point into the matter state, and that happens as we see it today on the planet. There is still too much conflict. There is still things that we haven't solved yet. So there is still hunger. There is still pain. There is still, and all that stuff that is, of course, telling and teaching us in a certain way. But it's not really necessary if you understand the principle of the mirror, because you don't need to send out pain, which makes come back to you as pain again. So it is always the same. What you give out is what you get in. It might come in a different flavor or color or whatever, but the intention here is basically the creation tool of the manifestation, which comes to reality. And manifestation is not only meant to be in the matter state, it's also happening in your dreams. So you manifest, or you're hosting, and speaking in computer language, you're hosting your life here and now, in the day and in the night. And when you understand that you are actually the host, basically the server that hosts your dreams, it is then just the exact same thing happening during the day, which means the day and the night needs to come together, and then in the end basically you merge your materialistic and your soul together, which is actually happening already, or happened already, because there is no time. So time actually does not really exist. It's just, let's say, it's just a movie that goes, and if it has gone and you haven't seen it, we can call it the past. You can recollect it and dig it out and watch it, and then you have the same information with that movie like everyone else. If you don't watch it, you don't have that information from the past, but it doesn't affect you in the way that it has probably some effect to you. So now the biggest, or the biggest fear actually, and the biggest topic here for every single entity on the planet is the topic of death and death or fear, because everything that we don't know is usually we could we could call it the unknown, the darkness, and that is always related in horror movies and in the Dark Age and all other terms that might cause any kind of disorientation or fear in our society. So we haven't we basically the media is not sharing with us anything good about this. Basically most of the stories are meant to share that there is so much to be afraid of, and the things that we need to be afraid of is of course the animals, because they are so aggressive and so brutal when they eat and when they have to hunt. That's the point of the human view, or let's say the general view probably, because it doesn't understand or doesn't comprehend how it works. So have you seen a lion who takes a gun and goes into the jungle and shoots around him and gets like 10 antelopes? No, he doesn't do that. He just goes and basically in accordance with nature or with mother, basically they sort out the weak, the souls that are not strong enough anymore to be here. So, and then they basically go for that prey. Yeah, there is no information about what is going after this, and this is the single view of the human body, the materialistic construction of what happens when this is not anymore. So we totally forget in the moment that we are dreaming. We don't actually have the body. So we can fly, we can do crazy stuff in the dreams, and again repeating the constant fear or the unknown or the afraidness of being dead and not here anymore, not to be able to have all those sensations and not to be loved and love again. This is a tool of well known of the religion or the religions on the planet, which try to sell us that when you don't behave the right way in the light or in the day, basically because they don't tell you what to dream, but when you don't behave in the society, when you don't pay the taxes to the church and so on and so forth, you basically go to hell and not to heaven. So they split the time after death, which is unknown for many of us, to the good and the bad again. So they separate term of death to the good and the bad death, you can say, and therefore pretending to know what's going on, and coincidentally this knowledge has to come for money, and that's why I don't want to have money from you. If you want to throw it at me, do it. I'm not going to stop you, but what I want to tell you is my knowledge has no strings attached. I'm just sharing with you. Maybe it sounds with you, or it resonates with you. That's the term they like to use today. Enough that it can bring you in some way or another more into yourself, into your heart, into your reflection of what is. And when we see that the fear of death is repeatedly contributed or shared or communicated over the mass media, with the bad story ABC and the terrible stories on 17, 18, 19, then we have just this constant fear which is reproduced, and the sooner we start to believe in this stuff, the sooner we start to basically feel bad and become afraid of all those preconceptive illusions, basically, because when you don't do anything and you just sit here and breathe and then don't have to focus on all the information or the thoughts that are coming through you, if there are any. This is the living proof that life is unconditionally. Love is unconditionally. They work for you all the time, no matter what you. So basically you are still connected with your body, and we just now need to connect with everyone else to behave as one, or to perceive the reality, all there is, like not only the planet but the moon and the stars and the suns and all that together, to understand that separation doesn't bring us further in the discussion when we want to judge. So when we want to judge is basically this egoistic view that you are more than others, or so therefore you know more than others, and therefore you need to tell others how to behave and do. Because it's voluntarily, you can do that or you can't. You do it or you don't. Now I should go with the dog out. Yeah, we're coming back. Fear, again, split up in money, health and peace. That is usually the concept. So you need to have money. Work makes you free. In German, Arbeit macht frei. Macht frei is almost 100 years old, but it's still very. It's more actual than most of the things that that are actually going on. So health, pollution in the air and the food, just to constantly get more out of the same, or getting more in the same time. So stressing all the vegetables and the fruits and even the livestock and so on, creates too an unbalanced, like the consuming is so strong that you want to have more and more and more, and it never ends until you explode basically from whatever. Health, and then peace, peace of mind, peace of body, which is health, peace in society, which is limited in, let's say, nations, but since we have nations, this is just another way of separate all the things that are basically one. So when you zoom out of when you just pretend to stay on, you just go on the moon, so you are this one and we put you on the moon. From there you can see that the globe, the earth, the planet, our mother Gaia is as one. So we are her children, no matter what gender, what size, what culture, what color, what, whatever. So imagine yourself you are just another car of the big factory that creates a lot of automobiles, and cars don't judge each other, right? They just drive, they just do, and sometimes they bump into each other, but yeah, accidents may happen because it's unconditionally. But again, there we have precautions and measurement and tools that wants to control that. So basically, when we finally got the AI that controls all the traffic jam and so on, or let's say the traffic flow, basically, then of course it can't. There won't be any accidents anymore, because the accidents only happen because the people are the people in the cars are the problem, not the car itself. So the people, or the mindset of the people of getting more and more, being faster and faster, basically taking less care of others, is the reason of accidents, or things that make you unconscious or not enough conscious to take care of the other members on the road. So the street and the cars is just another example of how society works or not. So DNA is then the blueprint, and the manifestation is the architect's last creation, as I wrote it down. Yep. Yeah, there is a lot of things that I had in mind, put it onto paper, and now I'm gonna share it with the world. And I hope you like this how you call it, crossover introduction into the giving of mine, and I hope to see you again. You can do whatever you do or you don't on YouTube. I'm not telling you what to do. Just use the mirror for once. It doesn't cost you, it doesn't take time, and there is more to it than it seems, obviously, and it's gonna be very, very interesting very soon. We're going into life itself, of how life and matter works together, or but we have to begin at the beginning in the end, and that's what I'm gonna do. And in the video after this one, we will start exactly from the point of beginning, or the point of origin, the offspring, or the Big Bang. There are so many terms, and yeah, stay tuned, stay healthy, stay in love, and I love you all, no matter who, where, or what you are. I embrace you all, and I thank you all for listening.